everybody, and welcome back to my Let's Play. Now, what you didn't see here, so it's probably obvious to you, but I'm in a different area. I'm actually in front of the V-Jolt room, whereas in the last video, I was right outside the save room. And the reason why that is because I had to edit out me walking back and forth for, no lie, 15 minutes because I could not figure out how to open this door. It turns out that I like to make notes to myself with games like this, with games that have interesting and awesome puzzles like this one, and I like it. But I had the numbers written incorrectly. I had the numbers incorrectly color coded, so that caused me massive confusion and caused massive amounts of hair pulling. And finally I said, let me go back again, look at what's going on, and see what I'm doing wrong, because it was obviously something that I was doing wrong. So I figured out that I had the numbers written wrong, and once I did that, it was just a matter of me figuring out what the order was, and that was just trial and error at that point, but I got it, as you saw there. So finally we're in this room, and basically there's only 2 chemicals that are already ready to be picked up. Well, 3 if you count water. Water counts as 1 in terms of the value, but you have these other two chemicals, and this is what we're going to need to make the V-Jolt. So there's like 3 or 4 bottles. I'm picking up 3. I think you only really need 3. I mean, I guess if you're really clever, there's probably a way to do it in 2, but we're going to start by making number 4. Okay, and let's see what else we have. We have 3 there and 6, so let's see here. So now we have 4 and 6, and I'm gonna make 10. Okay, we're halfway there. We need to make 20. All right, empty bottle. So but I don't think you can add 10 and 10. It doesn't work that way, because 10 and 10 just makes 10. That's chemistry for you folks. Oh gosh, that makes me always, this part right here always makes me think of my organic chemistry class. There was one time where, oh my gosh, we always had this component of the organic chemistry lab where it was just, they gave you an unknown substance and you had to figure out what it was based on different tests you can do with it. And I've said this story before. And the idea was that I ran a particular test. I'd run a particular test, and I kept the result of it, because in addition to trying to figure out what the chemicals were, the original chemicals, there was a reaction that we were required to do in order, as part of the project. So I did it, and I kept what I thought was the result of that reaction, and I kept it in a jar. And we have these like stupid little lockers that we kept our stuff in, so it would be once a week. So I kept my stuff. I'm like, I hope to God nobody goes into that locker and messes with my stuff. And nobody messed with my stuff. But then what happened was that I went in the next week, because there was a few other things that I needed to do. There's a few other tests, and this was kind of a multi-week project, and I saw that the solution that I had was, it just completely evaporated, and I was absolutely mortified. So I was down to the last week, and I said, oh my gosh, I have to move heaven and hell to get this reaction done again. And I did it, and there was still one more week. That was the last week of actual work, but then the following week was when we were gonna present our best guess as to what our compounds were, as well as the result of the reaction. And so I was hoping, oh dear God, please don't let this thing evaporate, because I need to show this to the professor, because he needs to run it through some kind of an assay. And thankfully it didn't evaporate somehow, so the gods of organic chemistry were smiling on me that week. I suppose. But anyway, like that kind of thing is fun in theory, but it's always stressful. You know what I mean? Like it's just you're 40% of your grade. 40% of your grade is right there in that little tube. So it's like no pressure. You know what I mean? But oh dear gosh, organic chemistry. I always remember we had to like wear these goggles and we had to wear these like gloves and stuff like that. And I always remember I looked like crap at the end of it because the goggles would leave an impression on my face. And I looked like I was beat up. It was crazy. But such is the college life, I suppose. Alright. So I finally have this V-Jolt, so I'm going to apply it here to the roots of the plant. I'm not sure. I don't want to get too close to this thing because I'm afraid it's going to like slap me around. Okay, well, that was easy enough. Alright. So the V-Jolt did its thing, which is great. You probably don't need the bottle anymore. Okay, so that's another thing that I like. The game actually is smart enough and discards the bottles for you, all of them, no matter how many you have. In the director's cut, you have to manually put those bottles in the item box, which is a bit of a nuisance. So with that in mind, the last thing to do is to go fight this plant. And I have to go this way. So, what was I talking about in the previous video? Video games live. Oh my gosh. So that kind of inspired me. Video games live, that concept kind of inspired me to start looking for other, it doesn't necessarily have to be concerts either, but I guess concerts, but like cover bands. There's a lot of cover bands that are like amazing, and I guess this is an unofficial shout out to them, but I like The Advantage, I like Mega Driver, I like, who else? There's so many, there's a whole bunch, but I'm blanking, of course, in true Bohan fashion. But it's just good stuff, it really is. Oh, I started to talk about, in the previous video, and I didn't finish it, a remix that I did, it's finished, for Action 52. One of the game's slashers. And I was starting to say that the game gets a lot of flack, and it deserves it, but some of the music is actually kind of catchy, and slashers is one of them. And when I was listening to it, I was kind of thinking, you know what, this song kind of lends itself well to a cheesy potential trance or dance remix. So I said, well, let me try my hand on it, because one of the things that I enjoy doing, and I don't do it much now, and that's kind of one regret that I have, and I want to get more, I kind of want to get back into it, is making music. And I make music using, I don't know if you guys have heard of this. If you're a PlayStation 2 owner, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but MTV Music Generator 2 came out for that system, and that was like my first experience with sort of kind of synthesis of music. It's not a fancy synthesizer, but it gets the job done. So I really wanted to try my hand at it. I've always fancied music, and the ironic thing about the music generator, and I had both the first and the second one. There was a total of 3 as far as I know. I don't know if there's more. But the first and the second one, the first one was the one that really got me into trance music, believe it or not. I was listening to, because they have some samples. You can make songs using samples. And then you can also make songs completely from scratch. So I started, of course, with the samples just to ease my way into it. So I'm arming myself for the fight with the plant, by the way. So I really got into trance. That's where I first said, wow, this music actually sounds kind of awesome. If this is an indication of what trance is, that's pretty sweet. So that's where I got into it, thanks to MTV Music Generator. And I said, well, you know what, I want to make my own trance music. So I made some original pieces, and I also said, like I said, my most recent song is that Action 52 slasher song. It's on YouTube somewhere if you guys are into that. It's cheesy, but But it was fun. But I was saying that in reference to OC Remix. Those guys and gals make some amazing remixes. Really, really great stuff. And you can tell they put a lot of effort into it. So that's why I'm kind of surprised that the remixes are free. At least for now. I guess the site runs on donations, I'm not sure. But it's an awesome site, so kudos to them. So I'm leaving one space in my inventory for a key that I'm going to be picking up in that room that I'm going to be going to right now. It's the fourth and final key that I need for the mansion. It's a few doors, like 3 or so doors that I need to open up. So we're going to make our way back. This is the final thing to do with the guardhouse, and then it's back to the mansion, thankfully. Okay. So I'm pretty much armed. So in the director's cut, I know that when you use the V-Jolt, I'm assuming, because I always use the V-Jolt, because I always play as Jill, that the plant is much easier to fight, so I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing. I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing here, but I'm thinking, at this point I was thinking, watch this game troll me and make the plant harder. So, this is the entrance I opened earlier. Here we go. Okay, here we go. And there it is.
What the hell is this thing?
Barry!
Jill!
I thought it was finished.
Yeah.
That was close. Thanks again.
Don't mention it. But what was that? What the hell's going on in this place?
What, so that's it? I came all this way with the grenade launcher and the shotgun, and the thing's already dead? You know what? I shouldn't even complain, because that's ammo I'm sure I'm gonna need. See, that's what I like about the remake. Just when you think you know the game, you don't. I was just going based on my experience from the director's cut. Like I said, you still have to fight the plant, even though you use the V-Jolt. But like I said, I believe using the V-Jolt just makes your life a little easier. Then again, maybe Barry helps you if you don't use the V-Jolt.
Barry.
Something about that mansion still bothers me. But I think I'll stay here a little longer. We should split up again and investigate.
All right.
Oh, of course. That definitely is such a huge cliche. Let's split up to create more tension in a survival horror situation, because we don't know how else to create survival horror atmosphere. Fuck. Can't carry that. Okay, I'm probably just gonna leave it behind. You know what? At this point, I think I have a good amount of herbs. Yep, got a good amount of herbs. So I'm just gonna leave it and just keep going, because I'm done.
Wesker.
Jill, so you're safe.
That's what I was going to say.
I apologize. It was all I could do to protect myself against those strange creatures.
I understand. Anyway, it's good that you're safe.
Did you notice? Barry, he sounded a little flaky.
Now that you mention it, yeah. I'll keep a close eye.
Maybe it's quite natural under these circumstances. It's not really our standard operation. Jill, our first priority is to get out of here.
I agree.
There are still rooms in that mansion we can't get into because they're locked up. I've been looking for ways to...
Okay, if there's anything, I'll go back to the other mansion.
I'm counting on you.
Oh my, did it just get hot in here, or is that just me? I worked hard to get that Wesker cutscene, and I'm gonna enjoy it, damn it. Oh my gosh. I love that there's no explanation. In the what was the previous game? What was the game that came out prior to this? I guess Code Veronica. I mean, I think there was a few other ones, but the last really big main one was Code Veronica, and Wesker was British then. Now he's back to American, and then the next game to feature him was Resident Evil 4, and then he became British again, and then in 5 he became even more British. So like I don't know what's going on with him, and that's very bizarre, but it doesn't diminish his appeal. It makes me confused, yes, but it's intriguing. It is. Alright, so I know I had saved before the fight, but I don't want to have to fight that plant again, so I'm just gonna go ahead and save my game. And I'll be back in the next video.